Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of our /Entitled Parents. In today's episode, narcissist parents wanted me to trade houses with them because I got a slightly better one, and then literally stole my air conditioners when I refused to give them money. I have a suspicion my mom is taking money from me. My mom is stealing my money. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe so you will never miss a video. So let's get started. Narcissist parents wanted me to trade houses with them because I got a slightly better one, and then literally stole my air conditioners when I refused to give them money. I'm going to start this off by saying that if you have a house and don't have cameras, get cameras. I have some now. But I should have gotten them sooner. I live in a pretty typical manufactured home in Arizona. My parents also live in one just a few streets over. Despite how close we are, I'm VLC because they are just bad people. They treated me okay as a kid. But things changed as soon as I was in my late teens. I was expected to do more and pay my way as soon as I finished high school. That was fair, I was an adult by then after all. But my parents wanted a lot more in rent than what I'd have to pay to get my own apartment. I'd have had next to nothing left of my monthly paycheck if I'd given them what they wanted. So I refused to give them more than a fair amount, plus a share in utilities. And I started buying my own food as well. My father openly said this was not good enough, and my parents actually filed official paperwork to evict me when I refused to cater to their demands. I left home and got an apartment with my best friend. 5 years later, and I bought my own house in a neighborhood not far from my parents'. It's just a manufactured home on a small property. But it was so cheap that I couldn't turn it down. And my monthly mortgage isn't bad either. I even moved my best friend in to help me cover the bills. We were already used to living in the same space. And the house gave us much more room. I may even let another friend move in to get some more rent money for the mortgage because we've got one room that's actually left unused right now since the house is a 3-bedroom. My parents, though, somehow didn't like my independence from them. Did they want me to fail or something? I dunno. But the incident that caused the VLC was when they demanded I trade houses with them. Yes, you read that correctly. They actually wanted to trade. Their manufactured home is smaller and older than mine, and has one less bedroom. And their yard is smaller too. Not that either of us have any grass. It is Arizona after all. When they first saw my place, they looked pissed. After a couple more visits, my father actually said it wasn't fair that I was doing better than them. And I was rubbing my nicer house in their faces. It's just an old manufactured home in one of the hottest states in the US. Seriously. What's to brag about? But I guess having something even slightly better than what my parents had irked them. And as I've already said, they actually demanded we trade houses because of it. My friend who lives with me literally fell onto the couch laughing when they said that. And I couldn't help but join in. My father said it was not funny. And to give him what he wants. When I recovered my composure, I said he and my mother were not entitled to my house, or anything I own for that matter. And then told them to get out. After that we barely spoke. And then the pandemic hit. Didn't really change my life much. I like the peace and quiet, and my friend knows to leave me alone most of the time. My father, however, got laid off. And he struggled to find another job. He ended up working in the local Marto Walls for half a year before getting a better paying job. I did get a kick out of seeing him there when I was shopping for groceries. But as much as I hate him, I'm not gonna call him a bad employee. He actually did fine. But during that time he and my mother kept calling me and asking for money. And I know what y'all are thinking. Don't lend them anything. They didn't want loans. They wanted handouts. Why? Because they raised me and I owed them. I said if they didn't want the cost of raising a kid, they shouldn't have had one. A few weeks ago though, my mother called me begging for money because their dinosaur of a window AC unit finally crapped out. I told them I was not giving them anything, and they were too cheap to replace that old AC unit for a long time. So I wasn't gonna buy them a new one. My mother then complained about how I have two in my house, and the least I could do is give them one. I then said that maybe if she and my father weren't always pissing away their money on beer and MJ all the time, they'd have the money to buy another AC. Then I said I wasn't giving them one of mine or any money. End of story. Only it wasn't the end of the story. A few days later I came home from work to find my house had been broken into. My front door locks were drilled out, and both of my window AC units were gone. Nothing else was stolen, but they went out of their way to make a huge mess for some stupid reason. Probably to make it look like a typical robbery or something. I knew it had to have been my parents and called the police. I told police that I heavily suspected my parents of the theft because they act entitled to my stuff, even though I'm a grown man that doesn't live with them. I went with police to my parents' house, and sure enough they had both my AC units going in their windows. When confronted my parents, they obviously denied the theft. Then claimed they already owned the AC units. But statements from their neighbors said otherwise. But my parents still denied the theft. I'd bought both AC units used online years ago, which means I had no receipts for them. So I figured my only option was to look for witnesses in my own neighborhood. And as luck would have it, a neighbor across the street has security cameras. And the edge of one of them caught just enough to see my parents showing up in my father's truck. My father could be seen walking with a cordless power drill in hand. And a few minutes later they came back to the truck with my AC units. Then went back in to ransack the place, I'm guessing. With this evidence in hand, police had cause to arrest my parents. At first both of them acted like they'd done nothing wrong. But I convinced police to let me do the talking. I said they could either return the AC units to my home and clean up the mess they made, or I'd let the police arrest them both right there. They'd already stolen from me, lied to police, trespassed, vandalized my house, broke my front door locks, and there was video evidence of what they'd done. If I pressed charges, they were both going to jail for sure. My parents looked deflated, then asked for a moment to talk with each other in their bedroom. I heard a lot of shouting from both of them, and I could hear my mother yelling that my father was an idiot. And he was trying to blame me in turn. After about 5 minutes of that, they came back out looking even more deflated and said they'll return the AC units and stop bothering me for money if I didn't press charges. I said they were gonna clean up the mess in my house and buy new locks for my front door as well. And then I wanted written apologies from both of them on top of it. They begrudgingly agreed and even got a police escort back to my house. My father was forced to put the AC units back in my windows, and then left my mother to clean up the huge mess they made while he went out and bought replacement locks for my front door. He was gone about an hour and came back with a new stainless steel lock set to replace the knob and deadbolt. Then he had to help my mother finish cleaning. During this time I let the two cops just sit and watch them while drinking soda. They said it was very entertaining. After everything was cleaned up, I gave my parents each a piece of paper and a pencil, then told them to write out apologies to me for what they'd done. My father looked especially pissed and said I was treating him like a child. I said he was acting like one, and never stopped treating me as a child either. This was just me holding him accountable. And I could have sent him to jail, but I felt like this was better for teaching him a lesson. He then kind of snorted and started writing. My mother wrote out a good apology. But my father's was pretty half-assed and passive-aggressive. But I didn't care. It seemed to kill him a little inside to have to do it. And when he was done, he left without speaking to me. My mother said she was sorry, and she'd leave me alone, then followed after him. The two cops said they thought the whole thing was hilarious, and then thanked me for giving them an excuse to take a break while on the job before leaving. not long after I shelled out to get some cameras for the exterior of my house. So if someone tries to break in again, I'll get it on video. I only have 2 cameras, but added a couple more fake ones that look real enough just to scare people off. I haven't heard a peep from my parents. But their next door neighbor told me they went and bought a new AC unit. Guess they had the money for one after all. Makes me wonder how high they were when they thought it was a good idea to steal from me. Maybe having lean pockets for a while will teach them. Then again, they are who they are after all. Edit: I've been questioned on how I got a house when I was only 23 years old. To start off with, the place was really cheap. In Arizona, you can find old manufactured homes on tiny properties for a very doable amount. I also kept and still have pretty good credit. The house and land were only $55,000, the house was a little bit of a fixer-upper too. But I was able to put $10,000 on a down payment, and I was able to get approved for a loan for the rest. The house is no prize, and by now it's at least 30 years old. But it's home. And once I have it paid off, I'll feel much more financially secure. Were the new locks in sealed packages? I'd hate for him to have made a copy of the key, and judging from this story, I wouldn't put it past him. Yes. The package was unopened. And my father had to use a knife to get it open. I think it's time to go and see with your parents. Also, wouldn't they get in trouble for lying to the police? Discretionary enforcement: the cop has to file charges of a crime for someone to get punished for it. Since OP was letting the rest slide, they probably didn't want to go through the trouble of doing the paperwork for a really minor charge, if it even is a charge. It is funny when narcissistic parents say that you're not entitled to certain things, including your own property. I think it's funny because they're so used to taking what they want and having the "what's mine is mine and what's yours is mine" attitude, they forget that people can actually fight back and tell them no. Though I hate to ask, did they always do that type of attitude where you weren't allowed to keep anything? I have a suspicion my mom is taking money from me. Hi, I'm almost 17 and have been working for just over a year now at a local gelato/gelati store in my hometown. When I first started working, I didn't have my own bank account that only I could access, so I used my savings account when signing up. Every time I get paid, my mom will put half my earned money for the fortnight into my spendings account and keep the other half in my savings. After a couple months of working, I had saved up around $3,000-ish, and that was at the end of the financial year. But about 4 to 5 months after that, I asked to see how much money was in it, and it was still at around $3,000. My mom has asked for money before and paid me back the next week, but I feel she is just taking it without asking or without me know, as I do not have access to the savings account yet, so the only way I can see it is with my mom. My dad has suggested that I switch my account over to my spendings account, or he will start up a new bank account for me with a new bank, but what to do? Absolutely take your dad's advice and set up a new account. When the old account is closed, see if they will give you a statement of what's been deposited since you started work. Also, see if you can get payment statements from your employer. That way, if you wanted to attempt to get the missing money back from your mom, you can see how much has been taken/is missing, so you have an amount you can ask for. I'm sorry this is happening to you. I hope you have a lovely Christmas and you and your dad are able to set up a secure bank account for you. Thanks, man. I was thinking about it and will probably take up my dad's advice, but I would like to see how much is in the account before I do, as it's been a month or so since I've seen it. Hope you had a wonderful Christmas. The best option to do is to start a new account that's only in your name, because we may not know, or it might not happen, but this will end badly for you if she starts opening credit cards in your name, because that can damage your credit and it affect your chances of finding an apartment or house, because a low credit score can show signs of being financially irresponsible. OP is only 17. Most banks require an adult to be on the account for anyone under 18. I agree, though, that taking up his dad's offer is probably the best option. I think a good starting point would be to visit your bank and ask for a printout of your savings account activity for the last 6 months. They keep records of everything, and I think you'll be in a much better position if you know for certain and have hard proof of what has been going on with your money. You might not be able to make transactions without your mom's involvement at this bank, but you should at least be able to make inquiries about your current balance and historical activity without her. And I would definitely stop giving her any portion of your paycheck. You may not have full access to the money in your joint account, but if your name is on the account, you have access to the records. Go to the bank and ask for your last 6 months' statements. If your bank will let a 17-year-old open an account without an adult cosigner, go ahead and open one. If not, take your dad up on his offer. My mom is stealing my money. So I'm 17, and am under my mom's account, so my checking is visible to hers. She can see my transactions, transfer money in and out of my account. So for the past month, she asks me for $, and then I say no because my mom is a shopaholic, and every time she asks me for money it's for something that is not my responsibility or important. Mind you, I have 2 older brothers who live with us, and are 29, and she never asks them for money ever. So this has happened 4 times, and today is the 5th time, this month, so only 3 weeks. She will ask me for $100-ish dollars, I say no, and then next thing you know the money is gone from my account anyways. I guess now she is tired of asking and does it anyways. The first 2 times she took $110 combined, but then paid me back within the same week. Now it's been a week of $260 gone from my account. It's not for Christmas gifts, mind you. She came home yesterday with 2 new speakers, and today alcohol. You have not said anything and she hasn't either. She has not asked me or confirmed she will pay me back, and even if she does, that's not the point. It's just annoying she's taking so much money from me without asking. Can someone give me some advice? I do not want to hold so much cash in my house with my brothers and my mom. You're going to be 18 in less than a year. When that happens, open an account in a different bank, lock down your credit, and get a P.O. box to have your mail sent to. Once you have those, save money until you can move out on your own. Also, get your own phone, a prepaid burner phone. Change your passwords on everything. May want to run a 3-bureau credit check on herself right now. Purpose is to find out if she has any outstanding credit cards or bills she has not opened but rather her mom opened in her name with her social security number. Illegally yes, but not uncommon unfortunately. Okay, the first thing you need to do is have your direct deposit stopped and get paid in paper check. It's inconvenient, but that prevents her from just moving your money from your account to hers. The only issue you may run into is needing an ID to cash your check, but if you're 17 you may already have one. Another option is you can also open a Cash App account and transfer your money there as soon as you get paid. Lastly, I will say my oldest son is 17 too and works his ass off, and every dime he makes is his money, as should yours be. Your mother is stealing from you and under no circumstances is that okay. In some places 16 to 17-year-olds can open their own accounts. Ask at a bank or credit union, not the one you are at now with your mom. If not, is there an aunt or other adult who can help you open your own account that mom has no access to? If you made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share, and we will see you in the next video.